faithfully delivering value by diving into great books worldwide. Hello and welcome to Sally's Book Talk. Today, we're exploring a book called Rework with the subtitle A Simpler, More Effective Business Mindset. The authors are Jason Fried, an American, and David Heinemeier Hansen, uh, who's who's Danish. They started 37 Signals together. You might not know them because it's a small team running a tiny business. They focus on creating simple, user-friendly software that helps teams collaborate. Don't let its size fool you. It's super famous in the tech industry. It was even named by Wired magazine as one of the top 10 startups to watch, and they've shared their entrepreneurial lessons. This little team published a book that hit #1 on Amazon's bestseller list. And that book is Rework, the one we're covering today. It's different from most startup books. It doesn't teach you how to draft business plans, size up competitors, or hunt for investors. It pushes us to rethink business with a simpler, smarter mindset, bust myths about starting up, avoid detours, and boost success chances. For example, it clears up common misunderstandings about what entrepreneurship really means. And in today's world, almost anyone can start a business. Tools that were hard to find are now at our fingertips. Back then, tech costs could run tens of thousands. Now it's just a few bucks or even free. A single person used to have limited output. Now one can handle the work of 2, 3, or a whole team. We don't have to grind 80 or 100 hours a week. 10 to 40 is plenty. And you don't need to blow life savings or bet at all. You can even start from home, no office needed. Plus, you can collaborate with people worldwide. Starting a business is easier than ever. If you're using your passion and skills to build something and expect a return, you're already an entrepreneur. The book stresses that entrepreneurship isn't just about launching a company. So this book isn't only for business owners, it's useful for all of us. Now I'll break down the book's key insights into 3 parts for you. First, how to kickstart your entrepreneurial journey. Second, how to overcome the biggest hurdle, product development. Third, how to recruit talent and build company culture. All right, let's start with the first question. How to begin your entrepreneurial action. First, you need to shed mental baggage. Ever notice how when you pitch ideas, people often shoot them down? They'll say it's unrealistic. That so-called reality is frustrating and hard to argue against. The authors believe people enjoy seeing new concepts get killed off, thinking society isn't ready for change. But truth is, that reality people talk about doesn't actually exist. What even is reality? And what's unrealistic? You only know if it works by actually doing it. Reality is just an excuse for those who settle. Like many thought unmanned stores were unrealistic. How could a supermarket run without staff? But isn't Jack Ma doing exactly that? So don't be intimidated by reality. Shedding that mental burden is step 1. Second, don't think only entrepreneurs can start businesses. That title artificially raises the bar. It's like gatekeeping. If you don't meet entrepreneur standards, you can't enter the field. The truth is, the new generation's already starting ventures. They earn money, but don't call themselves entrepreneurs. They're just doing what they love profitably. So when starting your venture, call yourself a founder, not an entrepreneur. An idea, some confidence, and courage are all you need to begin. Founders often worry their company won't scale up. But why must it be big? Beyond feeding our egos, what real benefits does size bring? Are we just chasing economies of scale? The authors suggest choosing the right size for your business is what truly matters. Just like we wouldn't say Harvard or Oxford become greater by opening global branches, size isn't how we judge elite schools. Same goes for companies. So your company doesn't need to be huge, no need for insecurity. Staying profitable is what counts. Now let's move to the second point, motivating yourself to take action. Well, the most common excuse people make is not having enough time. Many say, I'd love to start a business too, but work's just too busy. No time at all. The truth is, you can always squeeze out time, work your day job, then spend evenings on your passion project. Swap gaming and social media scrolling time for developing your ideas. Shift bedtime from 10 to 11 or wake up an hour earlier. Just a few weekly hours can make things happen. Only by doing will you know if it's a fleeting interest or real passion. Beat the time crunch, and planning paralysis often follows. The authors argue business plans, strategy docs, financial projections, all unnecessary planning. More accurately, they're just guesses. Nobody's a fortune teller. Too many unpredictable factors in startups. Market conditions, competitors, customers, everything's changing. We only gather real information and make true decisions while actually doing the work. Instead of long-term plans and complex schedules, just focus on what needs doing this week or month. Plus, unrealistic plans can actually backfire. What you've planned or thought about means nothing. Only what you've done counts. We've all got that friend who sighs, "Gosh, I actually had an eBay-like idea years ago. If only I'd acted, I'd be a billionaire now." Ideas in your head and actual execution are worlds apart. Creativity's everywhere, but acting immediately, that's rare. All right, mental baggage shed. After pushing yourself to start, we need to define exactly what to do. So, how do we decide? First, create something unique. Copying others or just remixing inventions won't last and lacks meaning to sustain motivation. Of course, big teams aren't the only ones making unique things. Take the Drudge Report. Just Matt Drudge's simple site sharing entertainment gossip and political weeks. But this website profoundly impacted journalism. It became a treasure trove for reporters digging up stories. In 1998, Drudge broke the Clinton presidential sex scandal story first, gaining massive attention. Before launching the Drudge Report, he worked odd jobs to get by. And what it like being a convenience store clerk or a telemarketer at a publishing house. Second, create something valuable. How to judge if a product has value? The authors give a simple test. Would we use it ourselves? If yes, it's worth doing. If it solves our actual problems, it'll likely solve others too. Take Nike co-founder Bill Bowerman, an experienced track coach who hated spiked running shoes. He wanted lightweight sneakers without spikes but with solid grip. Later, inspired by waffle iron patterns, he experimented and created lightweight rubber soles with raised grid textures. And thus Nike's iconic waffle trainer was born. Finally, stick to your true passion, what we call staying true to your ocean. But entrepreneurship isn't just about perfecting products or services. We face constant pushback, clients demanding new features, and get swayed easily, like when competitors launch products. Should we follow? That's when strong convictions matter. Without them, we lose direction. All right, that covers part one. How to break mental barriers, motivate action, and define your mission before launching. Next, tackling the biggest hurdle, product development. We'll break it into 3 stages: product development, promotion, and customer needs, tackling each step by step. First, product dev. Don't rush perfection, just get a functional version out. Founders often obsess over flawless designs, endlessly adding features during development. The authors warn that brilliant ideas often become mediocre products when over-engineered. Because our time, resources, energy, and attention are all limited, instead of spreading thin everywhere, focus all efforts on perfecting the core features. Other stuff can be polished later. Besides not needing tons of features, don't overfixate on details either. The authors say obsessing over analysis invites arguments, leading to endless meetings and delays. Actually, those details may not matter. Focus on solidifying the foundation and getting the product out. Once the product's ready and basic functions work, launch it ASAP for market testing. Customer-focused reassurance. Customers will tell us which features are needed and which details matter. Then we can refine. Second, learn to subtract and focus on constants. A great restaurant really only has a few signature dishes. Master those and people flock. Failed restaurants often have too many dishes but no standouts. It's the same with products. When problems hit, we instinctively want more staff, delayed launches, or extra funding. But that just worsens things. Instead, learning subtraction is crucial. So, how do we subtract? Focus on constants. Think about our core principles for this product. Is it chasing speed or simplicity? Value for money or high end appeal? No matter the issues or market shifts, cutting based on our constants and focusing on lasting features is vital. When we do something, we often create other things too. It's never just one output, they're usually byproducts. We should be observant, spot these byproducts, and uncover business opportunities, like in the timber industry. Sawdust, once tossed out, is now sold. For example, this book itself is a byproduct of 37 Signals. It became a bestseller, turning team experience into knowledge and earning over $2 million for the company. All right, that wraps up product development. Remember, don't chase perfection, learn subtraction, and monetize byproducts. Next, we'll tackle the second hurdle, product promotion. Early on, few know we exist, but the authors see this as an advantage. Being unknown in the shadows means that even if we mess up big time, nobody knows. We can fully use this time to tweak strategies and test ideas. Even Broadway shows start by testing the waters in small theaters first. Before heading to New York, they test the play in a smaller city, letting actors face a tiny audience. Once our venture grows big, it inevitably shifts to a stable path. Because if millions use our product, even tiny changes get blown up. Being unknown is the best chance for trial and error. Of course, we don't stay unknown forever. We slowly build loyal users. Many companies still rely on big spending to attract customers, plan budgets, and run ads for promotion. But this way wastes cash and might not even work. Smart companies don't just throw money at ads to find clients. Instead, they make clients come to them. How? 4 words. Spread knowledge. Spreading knowledge builds unity and wins support and respect. Even if they don't buy our product, they'll still become fans. Over time, fans build a trusting, interdependent relationship with us. At the right moment, they turn into users and even recommend our product to others, doing free promotion. Like Gary Vaynerchuk, a judge on Apple's reality show, Planet of the Apps, whose family runs a wine business. By teaching people how to taste wine on video sites, he gained huge fans and built an online wine empire. During product promotion, what if competitors copy us? Make ourselves part of the product, infusing our unique philosophy to make it stand out. Once we blend our philosophy into the product, competitors can't copy its uniqueness. Competitors simply can't replicate the uniqueness of our product. For example, Steve Jobs was a Buddhist who loved the simplicity of Zen aesthetics. He infused this philosophy into product design, giving Apple a unique minimalist aesthetic. Of course, when needed, declare war on competitors. Being a challenger is a shortcut to attracting followers. Audi did exactly this, targeting industry veterans as opponents. For example, Audi promoted itself as new luxury versus Rolls-Royce and Mercedes-Benz's old luxury to attract customers. And in one ad, Audi mocked Lexus's auto parking system, proudly stating, "Audi drivers know how to park, no gimmicks needed." Another ad claimed, "BMW drivers use mirrors to fix hair. Audi drivers use them to see traffic." That covers the second hurdle in product challenges. Promotion. The authors say obscurity is prime time for experimentation. Sharing knowledge builds our first fans. Infusing unique philosophy makes us uncopyable. Challenging rivals also attracts followers. Now, the third hurdle. When unhappy clients demand endless changes, the authors offer 3 solutions. First, dare to say no. Imagine I'm a chef. If customers say dishes are too salty or spicy, we adjust. But if they demand bananas and noodles, that's a hard no. Sacrificing majority needs for one client backfires. Saying no isn't hard. Apologize and explain. Clients often understand more than you'd think. Second, don't log every request verbatim. Early on, we treat clients like gods. assigning staff to track every demand in spreadsheets. But the authors argue it's unnecessary. Clients are your notepad. Vital needs get repeated until remembered. If you forget a request, it's likely niche, not worth prioritizing. Third, never prioritize big clients exclusively. If one whale boosts sales, companies bend to their whims, constantly altering products until alienating regular users. Once this big client stops renewing, the company's products can no longer attract the masses. And the company needs to wholeheartedly serve a specific type of client rather than one or two big clients. All right, that covers part two of today's discussion. How to tackle the biggest hurdle in entrepreneurship: product development. In other words, how to solve the three major problems extending from the product core with a simpler, more effective mindset. How to solve the three major problems stemming from the product core with a simpler, more effective mindset: product development issues, product promotion issues, and customer demand issues. Next, let's discuss part three: how to recruit talent and build company culture. After some time in entrepreneurship with products and the first batch of customers, things inevitably get busier. At this point, we need to recruit staff while building corporate culture. First, let's talk about common pitfalls in employee recruitment and what simpler, more effective business mindsets can address them. First, before hiring someone for the job, it's best to try it yourself. The authors advocate doing it yourself because only then can we understand the essence of the job and what the position requires. If you can handle it yourself, do it as much as possible. Only when exhausted, you can learn new methods, solve problems, or optimize workflows to maximize existing staff's potential. Even if hiring is necessary, we'll be very clear on what kind of employee is needed and stay closely involved in all aspects of the business to avoid confusion. Second, obsessing over recruitment is harmful. Don't hire rock stars just for the sake of it. How to understand this? It's like when some companies, without a hiring plan, hear about a rock star and create a position just to attract them. But in reality, their work is irrelevant, only adding real cost to the company. Entrepreneurs should hire people they need, not rock stars. Finally, there are some small tricks to recruitment. For example, hire someone who genuinely cares about the company and product, not just those who send mass resumes. Also, don't overemphasize work experience. 6 months to a year is enough to master basic skills. Beyond that, more experience doesn't make much difference. Real differences lie in work ethic, personality, and intelligence. Broaden your search. Don't overvalue degrees. Great talent comes from ordinary schools too. Startups especially should avoid Ivy League grads who can't get their hands dirty and only talk big. When choosing between equally skilled candidates, pick the best writer. Because writing reflects thinking. Good writers simplify complexity, spot key points, notice details, and communicate effectively. Exactly the qualities of a stellar employee. After hiring, as teams grow, company culture becomes essential. The authors believe culture isn't manufactured through missions or rules. That's just decoration. Real culture emerges naturally as a byproduct of employee actions over time. If we encourage sharing, sharing becomes our culture. If we prioritize customer respect, that becomes our culture. Culture can't be forced. It needs time to brew. Crucially, culture depends on how we treat employees. The authors stress: don't treat staff like children. Trust them fully. Requiring approvals for everything breeds manager-employee tension. Blocking websites or installing surveillance cameras? Useless. People always find ways to slack off. HR enforcing strict 8-hour shifts or encouraging overtime? Equally meaningless. Longer hours don't mean higher productivity. Trust employees to manage their time. As long as work gets done, expecting work to be their entire life is unrealistic and unfair. Of course, employees are human and make mistakes. When they do, many companies rush to create rules preventing recurrence. The authors say this is misguided. Rules are organizational scars. Overreacting to unlikely repeat incidents is collective punishment for individual errors. Example, Xiao Long wore shorts to work today. It's unprofessional. Just tell him. Next time, don't wear shorts. No need for a dress code restricting everyone's style. So rules should only be created when issues recur repeatedly. That concludes part 3. With that, we've nearly covered rework. Quick recap. Starting your venture has 3 steps. First, shed mental baggage. Don't fear reality or worry about scale. Second, push yourself to act. No time excuses, skip detailed plans, just start. Third, define exactly what you'll create. For products, solve 3 challenges. Prioritize functional over perfect, subtract unnecessary features, monetize byproducts. In promotion, grow loyal fans through knowledge sharing. For customer demands, dare to say no, skip verbatim logging, avoid big client tunnel vision. Finally, on hiring or culture, do it yourself, hire for need, not stardom, master small tricks. How you treat employees is cultural bedrock, like trusting fully and minimizing rules. Entrepreneurship is our chance for life-changing breakthroughs. Founders fear detours most. Simpler business thinking boosts success odds. All right, we work. That's our interpretation. Show notes below. See you tomorrow.